What's going on, guys? So it's been a minute since I've done a live stream, and I want to get more into the habit of doing live streams here in the future. So I'm going to be setting a schedule at some point, so like people know like when I'm online and when I'm doing videos. But typically, like the way like my live streams have worked, like if you're watching this after the fact, is I'm kind of like explaining a little bit of a topic and going a little bit more in depth, and then just kind of taking some thoughts from people that maybe have some other insights that are adding to my live stream. So that's kind of the way that I'm going to run some of these live streams in the future. And so that's kind of my plan. And I kind of wanted to go through some of the projects that I've been in recently that have been doing the best for me, and I kind of have a little bit of a different strategy than when I used to be doing this in the past. For those of you that know me, like I've been taking quite a few risks when I get into different projects, and I think the space has changed quite a bit where the risks are maybe not worth it, considering you have so much better options right now with things that are going on. So I took a little bit of a break from YouTube, and when I had left, yield farming had really taken off, and I had a feeling that was going to basically have a lot of scamminess that kind of came through, and that's kind of what we had seen for like when I got into yield farming, there was quite a bit of projects that you had to be kind of aware of and watch out for. And so what I ended up doing is I got into a lot of the big name projects, and I did like my top 10, top 20 list a while back, and that held up pretty good. And there was a lot of newer projects that kind of came in, even some really big ones that had taken over. And typically, like if it is pretty big, sometimes you think it's too big to fail. And that ended up not happening. And then you also saw a lot of impermanent loss as a lot of money kind of drained from a lot of these yield farming projects. I still think that there are some good ones out there, but I haven't been as involved. I mean, mainly PancakeSwap has been the big one that I've been in, and I'm going to be doing more research on a lot of these. I haven't had the time to do the type of research that I would like to, so I think that once I start getting back into doing regular live streams like I was doing before, I'll be getting a lot more feedback on different projects and things to check out. Right now I've been keeping things pretty simple, and I think that had it not been for the big dump that we had saw, it was at like March 19th when Bitcoin lost about 50% and a bunch of my bots got liquidated. My bots have been doing really, really well, and so that was something that I had set up where I have 5 Wick Hunter bots right now, and I've talked a little bit about this in previous live streams, but they're trading on leverage, and you do have to watch them from time to time. If trades hang or typically what will happen is the take profit price it disappears, and so you get these ghost trades. And so what I've been having to do is to get more into trading, and so that's what I've been doing is I've been doing a lot more trading on a few different accounts and trying to build that up and get back into trading like I had been doing before. And so that's been a little bit of my focus of getting using some of the profits and things that you're getting from these crypto passive income projects to try riskier things in other spaces. And so that's been something that I feel like if you have like a foundation, you have some projects that are at least producing you a little bit of income that you can use to try riskier projects, that can be something that can be to your advantage, and you can get into a lot of other projects that have less risk and then kind of build a little bit of a portfolio that way. I've typically been a little bit more on the high risk, and I've gotten burned quite a few times in the past. Things are going better for me now, and a lot of the things that I've gotten into have done really well. There were fly-by-night projects like Tron Chain. Gosh, that was like, what was that, 6 months ago now. if you know kind of knew what you were getting into, you could have done pretty well on that. I mean, about 3 or 4x'd, my funds in that, and I had taken a lot of those profits, rolled them into other projects that were doing really well. Those blew up, and so I had a really good 2020. And now that I'm kind of getting into 2021, I want to start getting more back into doing some of the live streams, posting on multiple different social media accounts, not just YouTube, but being more active and setting it up so I can do that. I had to kind of take a little bit of a break with some of the moving that I had done. Basically moving on the opposite side of the planet from where I was in Manila and the Philippines into Peru. So that's was a big change for me. I have a lot of projects and I still need to get back to that. I'm currently in Lima, for those that are a little bit unfamiliar with some of the things I've been up to lately. Bought a drone. Got this really cool drone here. Been taking some shots. Had some issues and problems with it, with some of the firmware, but I think I got it all figured out now. So I'm gonna go be testing this out. I've been taking some really cool shots with it, and I'm gonna be incorporating that with some more of the kind of the visual stuff that I've been doing on published videos. But I also want to get back into doing live streams where, I am more just kind of looking at things currently and what's going on right now, and so that's kind of been a little bit of my focus. So check out the chat a little bit. What's going on, Bones, Goose? Pulse chain is another one that I need to do quite a bit of research into. At least it seems pretty simple and straightforward. Like if you're getting into it, you have a couple of different options with the burn function, with burning hex, which obviously is probably going to have a positive impact on the price of hex that it's already been doing really well. So I've got a big bag of that's in like a 5-year stakes, and I think the Pulse chain will allow people to be doing a lot more of those micro transactions, which will be really good for that project because it's basically been unusable now that the East gas prices have just gone insane. So that solves that issue, and we might see that project really take off. A lot of really good projects that you can get into that have a different form of passive income. I mean, Hex is a form of passive income because of your staking, but also taking into account the fluctuations in price, you can make some money on that too. Like I've been a big advocate for people to get into some of the grid bots. So the grid bots, if you're working with some capital, like you have, say a little bit of Bitcoin, a little bit of Tether, a little bit of some coins that you can pair together and put that on a big trading pair on an exchange, all of that movement in price, you're going to be earning on that. So that's a much safer way to make passive income, and I think that's a good foundational project to get involved with. So I've got a Hex and USDT pair that's trading on the B-Box, I believe, and it's been doing fairly well. I'm going to be sharing some more of my results once I get a little bit more organized here, because the BitsGap bot does take a little bit more setup and understanding on how to do that. But I think that's really good, especially like if you were one of these people that you want to make passive income, you don't really want to worry a whole lot about some of the projects that you're getting into, and you want to take a little bit of a less risk approach. Getting into a really good grid bot is with a decent amount of volume and some pretty good returns is a great way to do that. And that's one way to also preserve your funds if you really believe in some of the projects that you're putting into these grid bots. So the grid bots, along with like the ones that are trading on leverage, that's when you're kind of getting into a little bit more risk, and that's what I've really been kind of setting up is having equal funds in that, as well as doing kind of some trading on my own. I've put in a lot of my money into those three recently, and the thing I like about like Wick Hunter when I'm setting up that is it's trading on all of the different pairs that are on Binance that have a decent amount of volume in them. And so what you can do is you can see some of the projects that are popping up into your wick hunter. So now that I have 5 of them running, all of them are kind of picking up a little bit different pairs because I have slightly different settings on all of them. And so it pulls me into the market. And so that's why I've gotten a little bit more into trading, because I was just basically, I was seeing what was going on, and then I would get into certain pairs, and I made a lot of money on, Luna. That's been a favorite pair of mine to trade. Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, a couple other projects, Tron, with some decent amount of volume. If you have a good idea of some of the trading ranges and you have a little bit of a foundation in trading, those can be pretty good. And that's one of the ways that I've been kind of actively earning more money, and then using some of those funds to kind of try out some different projects. So if you're not as into wanting to kind of trade on your own, the guys that did the Wick Hunter, the Wick Hunter bot setup, and that team also have bots gains, and so that's another one. I haven't got into it just yet. I just missed the deadline to get into that, but I'm probably going to be pulling in some funds to get into that next week. And so they are trading your funds on a smart contract, and their returns are transparent. So that's kind of another one if you trust the team. I mean, we know those guys, so there's a little bit of a trust factor there, and we know that they're not running away with everyone's funds. And I think it's going to be set up pretty good for people that are just kind of new, that are not putting in a whole lot of money, but they want to earn a little bit of passive income on some of the capital that they do have. That's a great way to kind of ease into things. But that's kind of been my focus. I was big into some of the Tron dApps, and those were doing really good for a while. I would say during the summer of 2020, those really exploded, and those were really popular. And now not so much, with all of the changes that they've done on the Tron blockchain, where the energy fees and the gas fees have made it not as usable. It's really kind of destroyed the bankroll project, because it's just so expensive to transact. I mean, I've got a 250,000 Tron frozen, and that's not enough to cover a lot of the transactions that I'm doing inside the bankroll ecosystem, even if it's just one transaction a day. So they have some pretty massive demands, staking demands, if you want to transact for free, because otherwise the transaction costs are fairly substantial now that they've turned those up. And so that's when you saw everything start moving into Binance Smart Chain. That really blew up for a while. A lot of yield farming projects. I feel like the momentum has shifted a little bit, and I don't know exactly where things are going to go in the passive income space, but I think that the ones that I've been in have been doing pretty well. So those are the ones that I'm sticking with. What's going on, Black Sheep? Appreciate that one bit. I am still in CashFX. That one's been running for a long time. That one's been staying strong. There's been a lot of reports, about that, a lot of FUD. I don't have a whole lot in it, but it's continuing to produce. It's continuing to pay out. Had you held on to your Bitcoin, during that whole time, it's kind of like another one of those deals where people are investing, crypto, and then are kind of getting paid out less in crypto. And so sometimes those aren't as appealing for people that are just looking for some more solid passive income options. But as far as Tron, let me go through my list here and see some of the ones that I've been in, because I got into like a dozen Binance Smart Chain projects, and I started pulling out of some of them. I got my money trapped into it, and I still got to figure out how to pull it out. Some of the bigger ones did pretty well. I had a few that I got into early and they blew up, and so I was happy about that, and those are still doing really well, mainly in the BSCX. So I think if you can get behind a few of those innovative projects and take a chance on anything inside the Binance Smart Chain ecosystem, that could be a good play. But there's they've become overrun with scammers, because that's that's kind of what happens with cheap transactions, I guess, is you get some pretty crafty people coming in there and finding different ways to convince you to get into some of these projects that carry more risk. So I think that there's a few, if I'm looking at ETH, there's the Growth DeFi project, which I still have not fully really understand what all the changes that they have made with that project, but that was one I did a lot of videos on, and did really well at one time. I didn't really cash out anything that I had within that project, and it's slowly been dwindling a little bit, but it's a very innovative ecosystem that kind of acts as like a yield farming style aggregator, and I know that they have gotten into the Binance Smart Chain ecosystem with a lot of the things they're doing, so that might be worth checking out. Hex has done amazingly well. Hexy, not so much, but they're still working on some stuff. I'm still talking to those guys. I got into like Hexy Finance. They're coming out with a gold one that looks interesting. So we'll see, because they need to do some things to help to boost that ecosystem. I'm not sure what happened to Wise. I know I got one in Wise for a little bit, but that's another one I had on my list. And I've got a spreadsheet here with just a lot of different projects that I checked out and notes and things like that. I can't show my screen because I got some sensitive information on there, but there's a lot of projects that I'm researching and kind of dumping everything into this spreadsheet. So if you guys have some suggestions or things that you want me to check out, feel free to drop me a line and let me know. There's been a couple of people that have reached out to me that I've been talking to. So I guess QBTech, that was one. I put $100 in that. I guess that's gone. I don't really know. I know that there was a lot of people that were talking about that one. I had a feeling about that one. That's why I didn't really put a whole lot into that. I got to check in with Passive Expert. That was one I got into, but that one looked pretty good. One of the other bots that I wanted to talk about was the BitCross, and that's with my buddy that's in Romania, and he's been doing really well with that. That's a great way to earn passive income in Bitcoin, and it was having some performance issues, like when I did my video, and there was a lot of people that kind of got into it, and then they kind of saw their balance decreasing. But you got to understand that there's some logic and things working in the background, and then once those were able to recover, those came back and were much more profitable. So that's a way to slowly grow Bitcoin inside of an ecosystem where you have a team of guys that are working on some low risk trading strategies in a leverage trading environment to slowly grow your Bitcoin inside of your BitMEX account. So that might be a challenge for people that are U.S. citizens because they block U.S. citizens, but there might be some other options. I've talked with people that there might be some different ways to get around that if you're looking for a BitMEX account. They will be putting it on Binance here in the near future, so that'll be interesting to see. I need to talk to Keith Waring. I know I was working with him on Profit Sniper for a while, and I've been keeping up with a lot of the stuff that he's been doing. But he's got some new logic and some bots that he's been working on that are doing really well, that are kind of integrated into TradingView. And Pionex is another one that has been doing pretty well. That was one of my last videos where I was kind of talking about some of the different ways that you can utilize some of those bots in Pionex to earn a passive income that way. So just kind of like having a diversification and different, having your money spread around in some different projects that are kind of all equally earning you a little bit of money. I mean, that has afforded me the ability to travel the world, to do what I'm doing now, and there's tons of opportunity. So I think that this is one that I got away from for a little bit here recently, but I'm coming back with a renewed focus and determination to kind of expand and grow my channel and kind of expand on what it is that I'm doing. So I think one of the things that I need to stay consistent. That's kind of what you got to do with a lot of the social media stuff. Is you got to stay in these environments and you know, posting every day, sometimes multiple times a day and across multiple platforms. So I was trying to figure out like more efficient ways to do that, because like Instagram, it like forces you through the phone. You know, there's different issues with some of the other. I'm kind of looking at Twitter and TikTok. TikTok is really just blown up massively. I've met a couple of people here in Peru that have like tens of thousands of followers, and they're just posting like dance videos and stuff. So I think there might be a niche for crypto in there. And I know BitBoy's been a guy that's blown up on there, not necessarily because of crypto, but I don't know how many people really knew that about BitBoy, but he one of the ways that he really blew up was on TikTok, getting millions and millions of followers, and then a lot of that followed over to his YouTube channel, because you know, he wasn't that big of a YouTuber. He's very, you know, kind of normal guy, like some of the normal crypto YouTuber guys that you would have seen over the last couple of years, but he's turned it into a massive production, and so it's interesting to see what he's doing. And he has some good insights on things that are going on, just because he has so much access to different people giving him information. I know there's a lot of people that don't like him because he's promoted you know, projects for pay that ended up scamming out. But I mean, that's kind of comes with the territory, and there's no way to really know with some of these. You got to do your best due diligence on those projects, but it can be difficult to know whether a project is gonna last long term or not. So yeah, it's been interesting to see how he's been doing. But anyways, I didn't want to make this stream too long, so I'm gonna stay on here for you know, maybe like 20 or 30 minutes, and I'm gonna do some updates from time to time, and do a little bit more of a scheduled live stream. I think on Tuesdays and Thursdays is kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking like maybe like a Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday time frame. I'd have to know like what is a good time to get people to be able to get into a live stream. But I think that like setting a schedule, I think will be better for people. That'll kind of know like, you know, when people are going to be online. But anyways, I think I'm going to call that a stream. Appreciate you guys staying online. I'll be getting back into doing videos here shortly, so be looking out for those. All right, catch you guys in the next one.